Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Sablute KM41pro wireless keyboard and mouse combo. So this is provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost anything extra. So this has a USB connection. It uses a 2.4 gigahertz dongle. The mouse and keyboard are both rechargeable. It uses Type-C charging. Has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. With the backlight off, it's up to 800 hours runtime. Backlight on is up to 80 hours. Has floating double shot backlit keycaps. Ergonomic design. Universal compatibility, so it's compatible with Windows, Linux, Chrome, and Mac. So let's get this open. Here with the mouse. This would be the wrist rest. The keyboard. Manual and charge cable. Let's take a quick look at the manual. So you plug the USB receiver into your computer. So this would be just like plugging in a wired keyboard and mouse. Now if you had a wired keyboard and mouse that each had their own plug, this is an advantage here because this one USB dongle is covering you for the keyboard and the mouse. So then you want to turn the devices on. It will automatically connect. This shows the indicator lights. Has num lock, caps lock, low battery warning, and then it has a volume knob. You can press it to mute. This is showing the multimedia keys. Now these might operate differently on different computers, but from my experience I bet these would probably work on most systems, including Windows, Mac, and Linux. We have FAQ here. Here we have the specs. Has 9 preset lighting modes. Range is 8 to 10 meters. Now it goes into power saving sleep after 2 minutes, and it wakes up when you press a key. The mouse also has a range of 8 to 10 meters, and it goes to sleep after 15 minutes. So here's the keyboard. It's plastic on the bottom, has rubberized feet, so it has grips here and here, and then we can flip these feet out to raise it, and it has rubber on each section, so it has 2 different sections. So you can have this flat, you can have it full, or in the middle. Right below that we have the dongle. It's held in here. It's held in there pretty good. I'm going to grab something to pry that out. It was kind of pressed against the plastic to hold it in, and it was a pretty tight fit. Here you can see the keys. They have a decent amount of travel. So we have the multimedia keys along the top. It has a kind of unique font here. Let's peel this off. So here's the volume knob, so that can turn and press for mute. Then we have the charge cable. That's around 58 inches. Now it comes with one cable for the keyboard and the mouse. Chances are they're both not going to die at the exact same time, but you can always use another USB-C cable to charge one or the other. Let's go over to the mouse. So this has a little bit of heft to it. It's not super heavy, but it doesn't feel super light. We have forward back buttons. We have left, right, and middle click. So you click on the wheel to click it. We have a scroll wheel. It has detents on it. And then here we have a DPI button for changing the DPI. Now the DPI modes are 800, 1200, 1600, and 2000. If we go to the bottom, we have the on-off switch, and on the keyboard we should have the switch here and the charge port. Here we have the charge port and the switch. Now this will come off, this will slide off, and we have a place to put that dongle here too. So that dongle is a little tricky to get out of the keyboard. I'd probably store it in the mouse. It's easier to pull out there. And there's some little slider pads. And then we also have this wrist rest. It has grips on the bottom. It looks like it has 6 of them. And then it has this kind of foam surface on the top. It's a soft touch. So that goes at the bottom of the keyboard. So let me get this set up with a computer. Okay, I have a computer system set up here. I have a mini PC over here. I've placed the dongle in the computer. Now before I get too far, I do want to demonstrate charging these. So I'll plug into a USB charger. I could plug directly into the computer. And I'll plug into the mouse. And the wheel is lit up here showing that it's charging. And it's charging at, it looks like about 0.09 amps. And that can vary depending on state of charge of the mouse. Let's plug into the keyboard. Now there's a little red light here. It's very bright in here, but there's a little red light here showing the keyboard is charging and it's at 0.45 amps. So it's charging a little bit faster rate than the mouse. So let's turn the keyboard on. So I'll flip the switch back here. It's very easy to find without looking at it. And then we can turn the mouse on. Now the mouse has 2 switch positions. It just has on, or it has a light bulb mode. So when we do that, we're going to see the RGB light in the back here. So I'll just leave it on that mode. Now you're going to get a lower runtime when you are running the RGB lights, but now this should work. I have the camera in front of the computer unfortunately, so I'll pull this to the side a little bit. So I have my mouse running here. I can click on things. Let me open something up. Here we have Notepad. So let me try typing on this. Now this is my first time typing on it, so I may not be super proficient, but I'll give it a run. Try it again. Okay, so these keys have quite a bit of key travel. Now I do have this flat. I could lift this up a little bit. That puts it a little bit more in line with the rest. So I've typed a couple lines on here. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, and that's only been a minute or two. So this has inverted T arrows on it, so I can use those for moving around. And we have multimedia keys, so I can turn that, and we're going to see the volume, if that's showing up. The volume is changing here. I'll press it and it's going to mute it. It's nice that it gives you quick access to that. Now you can also hit these buttons here, although we need to hit the function button, which is right here. You can do that to change your volume, but this is much faster, I think. Now as far as the mouse is concerned, it's very smooth. I can select with it, right click. Now if I want to change the DPI, I can press the middle button. So that's going to change how fast I move it. Let me see if I can demonstrate this better. So I'll grab this and I'll move it back and forth. I'll change the DPI. Okay, so you can see that is a bit faster. So you can adjust that to your liking. Let me shut the light off so we can look at the lights a little bit better. Now I can see the lights on the backlight, but again, it's very bright in here. So that's a much nicer look. We can see we have the RGB light on the mouse over here, and then we have the lights on the keyboard. Now, one thing I'm noticing is with the light off, it's hard to see the icons on the buttons. Now, if you use this a little bit, it shouldn't be hard to memorize where those buttons are. So it was actually these three with HM, home, page up, page down. So I think I need to hit function. Okay, so that's changing the modes. I think that said there's 9 modes. And then this is the dim and bright. So let's kind of find a starting point. Okay, so this is white. It's kind of a rainbow mode. So these are color changing modes. They're going to have different patterns. So this one's kind of pulsing. This has a sort of animation on it. This looks like it might be a solid color there. So it looks like red, green, blue, maybe a pink, and white. So we have a number of different modes. Let me just find a solid color, and then we can go here with the page up, page down with function to brighten or dim it. So I'm guessing when it's a little dimmer, it will last a little longer. So you can go with just white, like so. If you're in your business environment, you don't want to look like you're playing around, but then once it becomes evening time, you can switch it over to party mode with all the RGB colors. So that's the Sablute KM41pro wireless keyboard and mouse combo. I really like that this uses a single dongle for the keyboard and mouse. It's especially nice if you want to move it between systems. So maybe you have your production computer and your gaming computer. You can just pull that dongle out and switch it between computers, and it only takes up one USB port. That's nice. Now I plug this in on the front of this, and it's in a USB 3 port, but it does not need USB 3. You could plug it in the back in the slower USB 2 port, and that would work just fine. And that's probably more ideal. But this has a nice clean look to it. They do have a couple different colors. This is white, but they also have purple and green. Of course, that's the base color. And then you have the RGB lights on there to change it up. Now this has a pretty simple RGB backlight setup. You can go through the 9 different modes and change the brightness on it. So if you just want a way to see your keys in the dark, this has you covered. So with the wrist rest and the different levels you can raise it, you can have a number of different positions with this to the one that matches your liking. And this does have a pretty decent travel on it. So if you like really thin travel, this may not be a good match, but if you like a little bit more travel on your keys, this could work well for you. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.